Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to see the topic interference and system capacity, which comes under the cellular fundamentals of the second unit. Okay. In the last class, we discussed about frequency reuse, handoff, and channel assignment strategies. Okay. Today we are going to see about interference and system capacity, trunking and grade of servers, and coverage and capacity improvement. Okay. So the first topic is interference and system capacity. So, what is interference? Just the disturbance. Okay, that is the interference. Okay, so this is the important factor which degrades the performance of the cellular radio system. So, there are many sources for the interference. So, we know we are making calls use inside a cell. Okay, we are standing inside a cell and making a call. So, our mobile is under the control of a base station. So, what are the main source of interference if there is another mobile in the same cell? If two persons are speaking nearby, we can say there will be some interference. Suppose if there is a call in progress in the neighboring cell, also we can say there is some interference. That is in the nearby cell, adjacent cell. If there is a call in progress, we can and if there is some interference there also, uh, there will be some interference. Okay. Next, the other base station operating in the same frequency band. What about that? That is the co-channel interference. Okay. So a call progress in the neighboring cell. What is that interference? That is the adjacent channel interference. Next, other base station operating in the same frequency band. That is co-channel interference. Then non-cellular system leaks energy into the cellular frequency band. That is the other source of interference. Okay, that may be from the transmission lines, from the vehicles and all. Okay, that from the atmosphere, that all are the source of the interference. Okay. There are two major types of the system generated cell interference, that is co-channel interference and adjacent channel interference. Okay. The first one is the co-channel interference. Now we are going to look about the co-channel interference. So the frequency reuse, here the frequency reuse is important. That is, there are several cells that use the same set of frequency. Okay, suppose if one cell is using some frequency, means that same set of frequency is used by another cell in the cell in the group of cells. So that cell is called co-channel cells. Okay, so if the two cells using same set of frequency, we can say it as the co-channel cells. And if there is an interference between that two cells, means it is called co-channel interference. Okay, so to reduce the co-channel interference, what we have to do is we have to separate the distance between the co-channel as much as possible. Okay, so the co-channel cells must be separated by a minimum distance. There must be a minimum particular distance between the two co-channel cells just to avoid the interference. I think you get the idea about what is co-channel cells and what is the interference, co-channel interference. So when the size of cell is approximately same, it depends on the transmitted power and it is a function of, okay, so we know the cell size is almost same for all, right? So it just depends on the transmitted power. Okay, from the base station, transmitting power from the antenna is different. There will be some difference in that. Okay, so it just depends on the transmitted power, and also it is a function of radius. The cell have some radius, so it just depends on the radius of the cell and distance to the center of the nearest co-channel cell, distance between two co-channel cells, that is the distance. So the interference just depends on co-channel interference just depends on the radius of the cell, the distance to the center of the nearest co-channel cell, and it just depends on the transmitted power. Okay, so here we can say The co-channel reuse ratio. So it just depends, I told you, it just depends on D and R. So the what about the ratio? Co-channel reuse ratio, that is Q is equal to D by R. So if we increase this ratio, the interference will be reduced. That is, if we have to increase the co-channel reuse ratio to reduce the interference. Okay. So if we are considering hexagonal geometry, we can see Q is equal to D by R. Okay, Q is what is D? D distance between two co-channel cells, and R is the radius. This value is also equal to root of 3n. Okay, what is n? N is the cluster size. Okay. So if Q is small, means it provides large capacity. Okay. So the large value of Q improves the transmission quality. Um, Improves the transmission quality smaller to the smaller level of the cell. Okay. Okay, so here next we are going to find signal to interference ratio. Okay, so if I naught be the number of co-channel interfering cell, I naught be the number of co-channel interfering cell, we can say the signal to interference ratio of a mobile receiver can be S by I is equal to S divided by interference, that is sigma I is equal to 1 to I naught, that is the number of co-channel interfering cell, into I1. Okay, that is make the correction I. So S is the desired signal power. Okay, that is the signal power that is available. Then I1, I, that is the interference power caused by the ith interfering co-channel cell base station. Okay, that is the interference power. Due to the interference, there will be some power generated. Okay, that power is called I, that is the interference power caused by the ith interfering co-channel cell base station. The average received power at a distance d from the transmitting antenna. So this is the signal to interference ratio S by I. Next we are just noting the average received power. Okay, so the average received power at a distance d from the transmitting antenna is PR is equal to P naught of d by d naught the whole power minus n. It is the first equation we have studied in the first unit. That is the received power. PR is equal to P naught into d by d naught the whole power minus 1. Notice d naught is the reference distance, and then PR, that is the received power, then the distance between two co-channel cell, and n is the path loss exponent, which ranges from 2 and 4, ranges between 2 and 4. The value of this path loss exponent is between 2 and 4. Okay, if the transmission power of all the base station is equal, the signal to interference ratio of the mobile can be represented as S by I is equal to R power minus n divided by sigma I is equal to 1 to I naught di the whole power minus n. Okay, so that is here we are there just making the value. Okay, they're just if the transmission power, we know we are using many base station in the co-channel cells. Okay, if all this base station have the same transmitting power, we can say the signal to interference ratio S by I is equal to R power minus n divided by sigma I is equal to 0 to I naught, I is equal to 1 to I naught di the whole power minus n. Okay, suppose if we are just considering the first layer of the interfering cell, um, we can write S by I is equal to D by R the whole power n divided by I naught. Okay, that is equal to root 3n the whole power n by I naught. Okay, here okay, that is the case when the transmission power of each base station is equal. Okay, so S by n is equal to root 3n the whole power n by I naught. The figure just shows the co-channel cells. Okay, the cells which is marked as A is the co-channel cell. How we find the co-channel cells? If I is equal to 3 and j is equal to 2 means move I cells along any chain of hexagon, then turn 60 degree and then move j cells. Okay, that is here I is equal to 3 and j is equal to 2 is represented here. Okay. So this figure shows the co-channel interference. Okay, in the first figure the frequency set, the co-channel cells use the same set of frequency as I told. Here they are using 890.4 megahertz. Okay, so while we are using this frequency, there we know the radiation as shown in the first figure, so it will affect the center cell. Okay, center co-channel cells, so there will be an chance of interference, and that interference is called co-channel interference. Okay, so here in this, for the hexagonal geometry with 7-cell cluster with the mobile unit being at the cell boundary, the signal to interference ratio for the worst case can be approximated as here. So here in this, here the cell is here the mobile is placed, a base station is placed. This is the cell boundary. Okay, that is the cell boundary. So that is the worst case. Okay, the radiation may affect it very fast. Okay, so here the signal to interference ratio by considering this is S by I is equal to R power minus 4. So here that what is D plus R? D plus R is the distance from this co-channel cell to the center cell. Okay, so D plus R, that is the distance between this cell to the center cell, the cell where the base station is placed. Okay, that is, if we are placing the mobile unit at the cell boundary, we have to calculate, this is the cell, this is the cell boundary. So from the cell, it is of the distance D plus R. Since it is in a cell boundary, between two cell, between this cell and this cell, the distance between that two cell is D. Since it is in the cell boundary, we have to mark it as D plus R. Okay, so similarly the others also D plus R, then two D's are there, D minus R, since there are 6 co-channel cells. Okay, surrounding the one cell there are 6 co-channel cells here. Okay, so the S by I is equal to R power minus 4 divided by 2 into D minus R, D minus R, 2 D minus R, the whole power minus 4 plus D minus R by 2 the whole power minus 4 plus D plus R by 2 the whole power minus 4 plus D plus R the whole power minus 4 plus D power minus 4. That is the co-channel interference. Next, adjacent channel interference. What is adjacent channel interference? That is the interference from the adjacent interference from adjacent in frequency to the desired signal. That is the nearby cells producing interference, right? That interference is called adjacent channel interference. Okay, That is because of the imperfect receiver filter allowed nearby frequency to leak into the passband, and performance degrades seriously due to the near far effect. So these all happens between the two adjacent channels which use different set of frequency. So this can be minimized by the careful filtering and channel assignment. Okay, so keep the frequency separation between the each channel in a given set as large as possible. So the frequency separation we have to keep it as large as possible just to reduce this adjacent channel interference. So the channel separation greater than 6 is need to bring the adjacent channel interference to just have a look. So this figure shows the adjacent channel interference. Okay, so here in this in the right figure, the right side figure, it shows the frequency level. Okay, in the center cell use 890.4 frequency. Surrounding that, all the frequencies used are different. That is the adjacent channel interference. That is, if there is any uh, interference between the nearby cells which use the different set of frequency, we can let's say it is the adjacent channel interference. Okay, from the figure itself you will understand how the interference is affecting. Okay, the center cell is shown as the red. Okay, red shape is dot as the central signal of the central cell. Okay, and the remaining interference is affected by blue, and green line mark shows the interference by the adjacent cell. So we have to ensure each mobile transmit the smallest power necessary to maintain a good quality link on the reverse channel. So here we have to ensure, that is, we want to make a call and our mobile transmit the smallest power that is necessary to maintain a good quality link. Okay, that we have to consider on a reverse. So here they provide long battery life, increase signal to interference ratio, and solve the near far problem. These are the adjacent channel interference. Okay, next the topic is trunking and grade of service. Okay, trunking and grade of service. So what is trunking? This trunking it just allows a large number of users to share a relative small number of channels in a cell by providing access to each user on the demand from a pool of available channel. That is, we know it just means for providing access to a user on demand from an available pool of channels. Okay, there will be an available set of channels, so we have to provide access to the user based on the demand. Okay, so with trunking, a small number of channels can accommodate a large number of random user. Okay, that is, here we can provide a large small number of channels, we can able to provide it for the large number of random users. Okay, so here they are just providing, or they are allocating a channel or channel based on the call basis. Okay, based on the call, if they are making a call they will allocate a channel. Okay, after cutting that means the channel is left free. Okay, so the next user can use based upon. Okay, okay, that is in this truncated radio system means each user is allocated a channel based on the call basis. Okay, as per the call basis, and upon the termination, if we cut the call means the channel is immediately returned to the pool of the available channel. Okay, suppose there are 5 channels in the pool means, and if there are 5 users are using that channels, and if the next 6th user is coming means, what happens, the call will automatically block or cut due to the unavailability of the channel. Okay, In a truncated mobile radio system, when a particular user requests servers and means all the channels are already in use, means the user is blocked or denied access to the system. Okay, so the trunking theory is how it's about how a population can be handled by a limited number of servers. Okay, that. So here the traffic intensity. Okay, traffic intensity is measured in Erlangs. Okay, and 1 Erlang is the traffic in a channel completely occupied. Okay, that is traffic in a channel which is completely occupied. What is 0.5 Erlang? That is a channel occupied 30 minutes in an hour. In this 30 minutes, how many channels are using? That is the 0.5 Erlang. So in the 1 Erlang means traffic in a channel completely occupied. That is the amount of the traffic intensity carried by the channel that is completely occupied. Okay, so the grade of servers. So what is grade of servers? That is the probability that a call is blocked or delayed. That is nothing but it is the measurement of the ability of the user to access the truncated system during the busiest hour. Okay, that is during the busiest hour how they can able to access the truncated system. That is the grade of servers. There will be some definitions. Setup time. What is setup time? It is the time to allocate a channel. Setup time is the time taken to allocate a channel. Then what is blocked calls? That is the call that cannot be completed at the time of request due to the conjunction. If there is the busiest hour means there is a chance for the blocking of the call. That is here. Or it is also referred as the lost call. Okay, blocked call or lost call. Then holding time, average duration of a typical call. We are making a call, right? So the entire duration of that time is called holding time. Then load. What is load? That is the traffic intensity across the whole system. Okay, how many users are using the channel? That is the traffic load. Okay, then request rate, that is average number of call requests per unit time. That is the request rate. Then traffic measurement. Here traffic intensity offered by each user, AU, is defined as the average call arrival rate, lambda. So here AU, what is AU? Traffic per user, that is equal to lambda H. Okay, what is lambda? Lambda is the request rate and H is the holding time. Okay, for U users, the load is A is equal to U into AU. Okay, if for one user the traffic is AU is equal to lambda H. Suppose if we are U number of user means the load is A is equal to U into AU. If the traffic is truncated in C channel, then the traffic intensity per channel is AC is equal to UAU divided by C. Okay, so Erlang B. Okay, what is Erlang B? If the block calls are clear, then under some model assumption, the probability of the blocked call. Okay, so if we clear all the block calls and if there is a probability of block calls again, that is called Erlang B. That is probability of blocking is equal to a power c divided by c factorial divided by summation of k is equal to 0 to c ak divided by k factorial. That is all under the trunking and grade of servers.